32 minutes, 21 seconds. 5-second tone followed by a 1-second pause.
You are listening to Spaceboy Universe.
Okay, gang, let's go.
From the space city called Houston, Texas, welcome to Spaceboy Universe, featuring Spaceboy and the lovely Solana.
So strap in and prepare for launch sequence.
Greetings and salutations, I'm Spaceboy.
Oh.
I know, I threw her off. We don't do this anymore because of this very same thing she's laughing about. And this is Spaceboy Universe. It is January 27, 2018, and we're on show number 2.16. And tonight we have two guests. Our first hour guest will be John-Desouza, and our second hour guest will be dawn-greenfield-ireland. And it is going to be a great evening. And a shout quick out to my space sis out there. As always, remember to follow us on Twitter. That's at the SBU Universe. Follow Solana at Solana. Follow me at Spaceboy. That's at Spaceboy Music. And of course, follow you follow the network that brings you all this fine content, and that's at the SBU Network. Remember to hashtag your tweets tonight with hashtag SBU Universe and hashtag Space Cadets. Hang out with those Space Cadets by going to spaceboyuniverse.com and click that dancing chat bubble, and that'll get you in with all the cool kids. And man, the room is already hopping with some of our regulars. As always, you can also follow us on Twitter, or beyond Twitter, you can follow us, the Universe, on Facebook, Tumblr, SoundCloud, iTunes, and YouTube. Just look for Spaceboy Universe. Speaking of YouTube, Solana, you can find more than the Spaceboy archive of shows. That is correct. There is video content from Spaceboy Music, video interviews, 2-Bit Gamers, and so much more. So it is your duty, Space Cadets, to follow and subscribe. Can't catch a show live? No problemo. Take SBU on the go. You can do that by doing Spreaker, SoundCloud, iTunes, and YouTube Red. It is a great way to follow us. So on that magical note, how are you, Solana?
I'm a little
giddy
tonight. I don't know why. Maybe it's because we got such a great show. And we're looking forward to it so much.
As compared to other shows when we don't really have a show.
Well, the shows that we don't have any guests on are kind of like, The ones that rely heavily on my research,
For a second there, I thought you were going to say rely heavily on Bev calling in and occupying at least an hour of our show.
Yeah, being our marriage counselor.
And I'm not saying that to be negative. Everybody loves Bev.
She's not even here. You can't talk about her till she gets here.
She can hear the replay,
Yes, Spaceboy still has the lung-busting cough.
Yes, I still don't know what's going on. This week was an interesting week, to say the least, because I went and got a CAT scan. And, because my doctor thought I had pancreatitis. And
we still don't know.
We still don't know. He was just guessing. And then, of course, in that doctor visit, he was saying, do you have allergies? Have you ever gone to an allergist? And I said, well, I believe I have allergies, and I've never been. He said, well, maybe we should consider doing that. But I don't know.
That's still a long term. You need a cough gone now.
Yeah, I know, especially behind the mic. The only benefit that this has brought me is that my voice is nice and bassy.
I wish mine was bassy too.
It gives me a great radio voice, and
you have to put the artificial bass on me.
Yeah, so otherwise, you're real high and twangy.
Yeah, that's what happens when I get stuffed up. I go the other way. Yeah. So anyway, just things we're having to deal with. It went from cold to kind of medium lukewarm outside and damp. So I feel like my cough is coming back because of the radical
all
changes.
The freaky weather we've been having.
The weather is so bizarre, but this is Texas. That's what happens.
And the joke here in Houston is that give it 5 minutes, it'll change. 1 second we're
or 24
freezing.
hours.
Yeah. We're 1 second we're freezing to death. The next second that we got our shorts on, and or it's raining the next second, and so it is what it is. Now, with all that set aside, I hope that I get some kind of results on Monday regards to CAT scan. So
I'm wanting to know what's going on with you, and I also think something that has not. I'm not saying this is part of why it happened, but I think it's not helping. Is when it's not raining, there's dust from the construction in front of our house all up down the street, and it's just you can't get away from it, especially if I have to park in that field at the end of the street and walk into the creek. I made this video where I've left the house and I'm walking down the street with no street lights because construction, they've taken the lights out, and I'm using the light on my phone to see, and I'm taking a video of me in the dark and walking to this creepy field that's also completely unlit, and I'm just like, I wanted to document this in case I turn up missing in a few hours, being dragged off by coyotes. So.
I can only imagine that Solana did not very much care for me, in the sense that when it comes to this whole mess that we've been dealing with our part of the universe, if you will. I just the concrete was done on a certain part of the street, and I said, you know what, bleep, I'm not going to go all the way bleeping down there to park in the. Into the field. I'm going to park right here, which is still one house down, and so
good for you, darling.
And see, the eye rolls start, and Bev hasn't even called yet. So the thing is that I was not going to walk all the way down there. So the nice thing about this week is they finally got the concrete in front of our house done,
and they got us a little dirt
to get into
driveway.
A dirt driveway to get into the there's like a connection of dirt between the actual road and our driveway.
What's left of it. And then today you just decided, I don't want that barrel there, and you just backed it up and moved it over.
And the whole time that we've had the construction going on, there's always been a freaking barrel right out
at the wrong place.
I can even go on that there used to be a basketball thing that was
there's always something in the behind us, challenging us when we're backing out.
We have a two car driveway, right? And so I don't know if our neighbors just assume that, they've got all that space, they can manage to get out, or blah, blah, blah.
They've never seen me back up.
And so, today there was one of these orange construction barrel things.
Caution barrels.
Plasticky things. And so I just drove up to it, pushed it, kept
with the car, kept it even to where it's supposed to be, but just pushed it further down the street, and then to make it where it wasn't in front of our house. So I was like, but today was that kind of day, because I was aching. I was not feeling optimal. And it's so nasty here.
I didn't want to bother Solana this morning.
Asking for the goat sound.
I let her. I control the goat. The goat is within me, and you cannot rush the goat. But there will be a goat coming here in about a second when I'm about to talk about. So finally, Solana gets up.
He doesn't do goat requests.
I don't do goat requests. I pull out the goat when I'm ready to pull out the goat.
Okay, let's not say that phrase too often.
Okay, so anyway, the thing is that I let Solana rest. I have tried very hard to respect the fact that she likes to sleep late.
Look, you came in there this morning like, I'm not coming in here again. Like, what are you, my father?
No, I give you a warning.
You don't have authority over me.
When it's like, hey, it's 5 o'clock. I'm not coming in here again to tell you that to get up or anything. I'm telling you, it is 5 o'clock. And I am, I'm just letting you know what time it is. That's my mic is. I'm getting so excited.
Your mic needs Viagra.
Okay. And you're telling me to be careful with it? Anyway, so finally she gets.
I saw that.
Finally she does get up about 2 o'clock.
Would you stop it?
And so I said, I need deodorant, so we need to go to Walmart. So we go to Walmart,
I love Walmart.
In the back of my head, I'm kind of reluctant.
You can lower your standards instantly.
So, and there's just something wacky about our Walmart. I think they're piping in some kind of special gas to prepare the FEMA camps in the back of our Walmart or something to that effect.
No,
But-
there's just something off about
So
it.
anyway, there's nothing that bugs the crap out of me more than, when you have people in the front of the Walmart trying to harass you, whether it be, and look,
You do not need to tell that story.
I'm going to tell the story.
Can you censor it a tad?
Hey, this is my story, just like the goats. This is my
okay,
goat,
hurry,
my
because we
story.
ain't got much time.
Anyway, so yeah, we got a little time.
No, you got-
yeah.
I
So
got things to get
the
to.
thing I hate the most is being accosted at Walmart by DirecTV.
And they live in there.
They
pretty much.
they live in there. They're like,
They get all their business
my
there.
precious, my precious.
Why are they stationed in there?
I don't know what kind of wacky deal that Walmart has to let the DirecTV come in there, buy the electronics, to try to pitch DirecTV to you. I'm not buying it. So anyway, I thought we were passing the guy, and and I'm thinking, okay, we're almost past him, and then all of a sudden, like a sales magnet, he thinks that he's going to, try to sell me on DirecTV, and I say, right as he's starting to talk, I say, nope. And he says, is there a reason why? And so we get a little further on, and I said, I would rather take a hammer to my and beat the crap out of him than to have DirecTV.
Your man bits.
Yeah, my man bits. And so I just kept on walking like no business.
I'm walking behind you, and I am like lost in my own head, because we're in Walmart, and I don't hear any of this, and I'm walking right behind you, and I'm just oblivious.
I think it seemed like you were in shock or something,
No, I wasn't paying. As usual, I wasn't paying any attention to you because we're in Walmart,
So anyway, that's what happened at Walmart, because I did the little head back and forth with my finger. You're not going to sell no DirecTV to me. I know better than that. And so there you go. Okay, here it comes. It really gets my goat when DirecTV is trying to sell me crap at Walmart, or give me crap. So obviously, DirecTV is not sponsored by Spaceboy Universe. Or the flip side.
I'm trying to figure out how to segue away from this.
All you have to do is just jump in the pool.
Okay, so let's talk about what's going on. The Logan Paul controversy, I guess it continues. So he had kind of, I guess he went silent, radio silent on social media and YouTube. So he's finally coming back to address the backlash. We already have a caller.
It's too
I
early.
don't know if it's John or not. We take it.
Well, might as well check it out. Good time to test the cola in studio.
Hold on a second.
Caller?
Are you there?
Hello?
It'd have to be him because he's the only one that has the number.
Well, I've got the dials turned up, so I don't know. I'm not hearing anybody.
Sorry about this.
Once again, this is live broadcasting. Sir Lana's giving me the index finger, so...
You can call him back from in here. I'm trying it. It's early. See, I tested this earlier and it worked.
You could have sent them an instant message.
Okay.
Anyway. So we press on as a good troop that we are. So you were saying, Sir Lana.
So Logan Paul's finally back to address his distasteful thing he did where he's posting the dead body at the suicide forest in Japan. So on the 3rd of January, he said, taking some time to reflect, no vlog for a while, see you soon. And so he says he's made mistakes. And I don't know, I didn't see this video, but from what they're describing in the video, it just sounds like, I don't know if it sounds like it's kind of a little insincere. So what he did was he talked about his ignorance of the issue of suicide and what he's learned since then. He talks about a first-person story about a guy who jumped off the Golden Gate Bridge. Mm-hmm. He features a conversation between himself and the director of the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. He plans to donate $1 million to the suicide prevention organizations. His brother, Jake Paul, who I thought they hated each other, by the way, like Noel and Liam Gallagher of Oasis. But I guess not. Jake said Logan, what he did was very, very, very wrong, and he made a huge mistake. He's paying for it. He's learning from it. And he thinks in no way or form suicide is a joke or should be made fun of, and that he said his brother did not mean to offend anyone. So it's still got a lot of negativity attached to it. The YouTube's condemned Paul's video. They removed him from an ad as an ad partner, Logan that is, and his other YouTube Red projects were completely shelved. So he's still got the spotlight. It's time to start. He says it's time to start a new chapter in his life. He's continued to educate himself and others on suicide. So if he actually learned something from this, that's great.
Actually, he's learned how he's losing money now that he's been hit so financially because of being... Well, you know, who's really at the fault? Who's at fault here? Is it YouTube at fault for the way they've built these guys up and thrown money at them left and right? Or is it really his fault? Or is it both of theirs?
The adpocalypse had already happened.
Oh, well, we know, who the blame is that.
Well, it started before PewDiePie. He just absolutely tanked it, for sure. It hasn't hurt him at all, though. Whereas this feels like it may have actually damaged Paul's reputation, everything. But for some reason, PewDiePie came out of that like, well, whatever, that happened, I guess because what he did wasn't... I guess suicide is the line you don't cross.
Right.
Whereas what Pewdie did was like, well, he said the N-word twice and he said something anti-Semitic. I guess that's not as upsetting as a dead body. I'm guessing. I'm trying to figure out how maybe.
Well, I was going to say the insensitivity part, but some words can be considered insensitive. But I would think that out of the respect of the person who committed suicide in that forest, and showing that, and then making light of what he did in his video, seems more shameful.
Yes.
Than maybe PewDiePie arbitrarily saying some derogatory, racist note. Yeah.
So do you think it's only fair that Logan got demonetized and got his special projects taken away?
Well,
is that enough?
You understand that I am very frustrated in the monetary system that YouTube has set up for trying to make money. I mean, we're not. You
can't do it anymore.
We're not like the most popular people on YouTube.
No, far from it.
However, it would be great if there was a system in place that actually worked, to where we've provided content. We try to put stuff out there to make it a successful thing.
There's a vacuum. It's ready for some other business model to come in and cash in on that. But speaking of cashing in, the rapper 50 Cent, right? Mm-hmm. He's much worth more than his name. So 50 Cent accidentally made $8 million in Bitcoin.
Really?
So in 2014, he let people buy and download his album Animal Ambition using Bitcoin. And then he just sort of left that account there and just I forgot about it. So now he discovered he's a millionaire in Bitcoin. So when he did this, Bitcoin was only worth $662. So it means you could take a teeny fraction of Bitcoin and buy the album because you can divide it up like that. So he pulled in over $400,000. And since then, the value has soared since 2014. We saw it rise up to $1,700 earlier this month and then drop to under $10,000 in recent weeks. So he said that account sat there untouched, and his earnings are now $7 to $8.5 million. Of course, now Bitcoin value is fluctuating, so it could be one or the other. And he just said, he tweeted, "Not bad for a kid from Southside. I'm so proud of me." Not humble. So Bitcoin evangelists were trying to get him to
praised.
Get into other
praised.
crypto platforms and check them out. And
because as you pointed out, there's more than just Bitcoin out there.
yeah, that's just a brand name. It's not just. It's more than it's a brand name.
It's the most well-known
brand name. But one of them joked that 50 Cent should get into the coin called Deep Onion because that's valued at 50 cents. So I thought you would enjoy that. But here's something we've been asking for, but you won't like it because it's Google Chrome. Google Chrome now lets you permanently mute annoying websites. What do we mean by that? The latest version of Chrome browser has some interesting features, but the best one is the ability to mute entire sites that autoplay videos. So the tab you're on,
that is so annoying.
The tab you're on, you go up to the tab and you right click, not left click, right click, and there is a mute tab option, and what it does, it shuts everything up.
Now, I think that's interesting in the sense that we don't do it for our site, spaceboyuniverse.com. If you have Spreaker and you do a podcast or whatever, kind of like we do, you can fix it to where the player will automatically play when somebody lands on your site.
It's been like that for years.
I've disabled that feature because I don't think it's necessary for somebody to come to our site and play, hey, listen to this.
No.
And then you could be in a quiet room. And then all of a sudden, blah, 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 blah.
Spaceboyuniverse.com. We promise not to annoy you.
Yes, we try not to. We're here to entertain you, not annoy you. I do that to Solana, and, that's all that is needed.
I absorb all the annoyance for you. So, these websites, they annoy you by auto-playing videos, and you'll do this thing where you'll shut the video up, and then you'll scroll down, and then the video moves with your scroll.
Yeah, I was on a site earlier.
If your sound is still on, it'll keep going. So instead of trying to frantically chase this thing around, swearing, you just right-click the tab, and it mutes the entire site. Doesn't close it, just shuts it up. So they're also going to release HDR support for Chrome 64 Windows users, and it's going to be compatible with HDR monitors and graphics cards.
Yeah, I hate autoplay. I think it's an annoyance.
Did you excuse me? Did you ever have a GeoCities or an Angel Fire or a BraveNet?
I had an Angel City, or not Geo.
Okay, I had a GeoCities. This is ancient web page making. This is back before Weebly and all
late
that stuff.
Late 90s, early 2000s.
This is mid to late 90s. So I had a GeoCities, and that's where I first learned HTML. I had an HTML for Dummies book, and I just went to town, and all I had was Notepad to create HTML. I mean, I was hand coding this stuff. But you remember when you could embed WAV and MIDI files?
MIDI, yeah.
And you have them play automatically. God, I miss MIDI. I miss MIDI files so much.
I don't know why you say that. It just, I think what it is that MIDI files are still out there. It's just that
it was just a happier time
in a world that we live in now.
It's before MP3s.
In a world before MP3s. Well,
it was before MP3s.
Let's rephrase it. It was in a world where the data to transmit data from a site.
Yeah, they were teeny.
You wanted to minimize as much as you could, and the cheap
files.
and easy way to do it was through MIDI. So, but now you could play full-fledged audio.
Yeah, and the only thing left that will play MIDI on your computer is Windows Media Player. Because
no, you should be able to play it through the browser.
You can play it through the browser, but that's it. Because Winamp, which is missing in action right now, was able to play it.
I think there's a site called nanite.com where you can get Winamp. I mean, there's other applications out there. I use that in my tech.
But they had not done Winamp for 64-bit environment.
Well, I keep bringing this up to you. You should check it out and experiment with it and see how it works with your Windows 10 environment.
We'll discuss that later.
Anyway, Winamp is a great piece of software.
I miss it. I loved it. I'd had Winamp soon. I'd asked somebody in IRC chat back in 1990 whatever. I said, "What is an MP3 and how can I play it?" They said, "Go here, get one, and you'll have to use Winamp to play it." and thus began my love affair with Winamp and get downloading skins and, you know, all that kind of good stuff and customizing it and getting it just like I want and the visualizations and the dancing bear and just, man, I miss that.
I miss the dancing bear.
But I do not spend time at a desktop computer like I used to anymore. It's all on the phone now. So,
you know, hey, speaking of interesting tech, our good friend Patrick Sporer sent me an email, one of many, and I always look forward to getting his emails. He sent me this one that the quote is, "Better than holograms, scientists reveal stunning Star Wars-style 3D projections in thin air. Apparently, scientists have figured out a way to manipulate nearly every unseen specks in air. They can use these to create 3D images much like those on Star Wars. The tiny specks are controlled with laser light, like a fictional tractor beam." I got to see one of these things, and you know, the image is kind of small, but you know, to be able to see something manipulated by lasers and then using the particles in the air, very cool.
that sounds cool. Yeah.
Sorry, that's what I got. Yeah, what else you got?
I'm looking at something. Sorry. Despite YouTube and Amazon's efforts, record numbers of teens are still eating Tide Pods. Most baffling thing of 2018 so far is the ramifications of a meme called the Tide Pod Challenge, which is no way should be attempted. The American Association for Poison Control Center released another alert warning saying not to do this. 39 incidents on January 16th to 86 incidents as of January 22nd. Why do teenagers think this isn't going to make you sick or kill you? I don't know. Stop doing it.
I think it's pretty stupid if you ask me, but, you know, don't take my word for it.
They'll all... Kids find ways to get into trouble. I mean, that's nothing new. They're just,
I don't recall us as kids being that stupid, but
we had a ton of, what do you call it, public, the after school things.
Yes.
Animations about not eating things under the sink and
oh yeah,
you know what I'm talking about, cartoons, Poison Control Center.
But like I was gonna say, don't take my word for it. And as always, I cannot get this dang thing to work.
What's going on with you?
I don't know. Let me try this one more time. And
we're professionals, not.
Here we go.
Stupid! You're so stupid!
God, I love that movie.
And so, as we're getting close to wrapping up and getting our guest on,
Today, one of these lucky contestants.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm muting it.
Our guest is in the chat room. Wants to discuss my lack of picks. That's just the way I roll. I just don't want to be seen.
As she describes, I'm the pretty one.
Space Boy is the pretty one. He's the face, so he gets to be front and center. I'm just the brains. I do the research. He does the tech and the running of the show. And I, yeah. He still has this bad cough. We're gonna get him. I'm gonna get him to somebody that's going to solve this. If I have to sit here and beat on him myself.
And Kay, get your mind out of the gutter once again. And that.
What's Kay doing?
Let's see, Serlana. I guess now would be a good time to
try to get this together.
Get us together and get our first guest of the evening in. And, man, we are excited to have him, John DeSouza. And, once again, I'm going to give praise where praise is due. Thank you, Solaris Blue Raven.
I know, our broadcast angel.
Our broadcast angel. Without you, I don't know what we could do without you. So, on that magical note, let's see. I come over here, I push this in, and here we go.
You are listening to Spaceboy Universe on the SBU network.
Explore the universe with Spaceboy and Sir Lana.
Okay, we're back. Having some difficulties, and let me tell you, I am not a happy Microsoft user right now. Skype has just been a crazy piece of equipment.
Well, what they did is they severed their connection with Facebook because we were logging into Skype using our one of your Facebook accounts, and then they ripped that away, and that has thrown us for a loop, and that we lost all our contacts, everything. So that's just been hysterically fun. Now, I connected to our call-in studio web application. It was fine. It was working great. Okay, I'm gonna attempt to call him because I don't get.
I tell you what, you do that over there. You call him and just break in while I'm kind of talking here. The thing is that we have been going round and round with our call-in studios and our Skype thing. Nothing against call-in studio. It's a great piece of technology that when it's working, it works perfectly fine. However, we've had to use Skype as a crutch, if you will, to facilitate the call-in studio. And I hear beeps. Ooh.
Sorry about that.
And this is John DeSouza. You've gotten through.
Hey! Hey, John.
So sorry about that, John.
I'll be the first to say this, John, is that, one, we're not professionals, but we are entertainers in a way, so, keep that in mind through the course of your interview, and, and it is true, all the good things that Solores has said about us, so,
Assuming she has good things we don't know.
Am I on the air?
Yes, you are, sir.
You're live.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
So,
yes. Oh, Space Boy, yes. Very happy to be on with you. I'm so happy that we got through.
Mm-hmm.
It was some weird kind of problem with the connection between Skype, Microsoft, and Facebook. Mm-hmm. That was a little odd.
Yes.
Yeah,
but
they severed their agreement with Facebook logins.
Right.
And that just completely trashed our Skype. So.
And I've explained this to our audience before. I'm in the tech industry outside of the universe, if you will. And Microsoft has done this thing where they're trying to give you one place where you log in. So if you buy Office or if you buy different products, Visio, or if you're using Skype, you can log into one portal and it remembers all your pins, your keys.
That's how it should be.
Yeah, and I like that in that sense, but it's been crazy with us and the way we've originally set up the program. It's growing pains, but all that aside, John, we are just excited to have you tonight. And if do you have a bio over there?
Yes, sir. I do have a bio.
Let's read a little bio before we get you in here, John.
And you're trying to throw me for a loop here. I got to connect to our server here.
Mm-hmm.
I can do it if it's not coming up.
Well, I could say John DeSouza was an FBI special agent investigator for over 20 years and collector of real-life X-Files. Today, he is revealing those stories as a leading researcher and writer on the paranormal. He was an attorney and an investigator who maintained a top-secret security clearance for many years. This background infused him with the ability to decipher mysteries that are beyond conventional abilities. The X-Man, John DeSouza, is today releasing these true stories and changing the face of the paranormal and our understanding of reality. So, Space Cadets, give him a welcome. He's been following us in the chat room. So, John DeSouza, welcome, John.
All right. Thank you so much, Space Boy. I'm a great admirer of your music, your work at Comic-Con. I'm really and happy finally be on with you here, with you and the Space Cadets, and with the mysterious Sorlana.
Yeah, she is the proverbial Wizard of Oz behind the curtain.
He says I'm traveling back in time to erase evidence of my existence.
That's the feeling I was getting. I was trying to find the pictures, and there were none. I had to send out for your FBI file, Sorlana.
I'm sure that was entertaining.
Under several of your true aliases, and I'm looking through this, and I'm shocked because there's nothing in here but those little simile icons and little Photoshop symbols of you. There's no pictures in here.
I don't even have a speeding ticket to my name. I've never even been in a car accident.
Oh, my
How about that?
And then she married me. Now I'm well lived, so I'm out there.
Yeah, he's got records everywhere.
Yeah,
public ones. So, but anyway,
I got to keep looking into that. But anyway, that's for another day.
Yeah, I read your book, Extra Dimensionals: True Tales and Concepts of Alien Visitors, this week, and that was really interesting, eye-opening, and spine-tingling, to say the least. So my first question to you is, in that book, you say you are an awakened investigator. Now, how did that come to be? You didn't start out like that, did you?
I think I did, because I started having paranormal experiences long before I went into the FBI, even as a child. I had my UFO observation experience, and then I had, I think at the age of 10 years old, and then after that I even had my alien visitor contact experience in my parents' home.
Yes.
So it was something that I go through in my book, The Extra Dimensionals, and it was pretty shocking and pretty something that really awakened in me that desire to become an investigator and a professional investigator, and to further my search for these sorts of things and to see how these things really work and what they're really all about.
That experience you write in this book when you were younger, them trying to get you through, I guess, the ceiling, that sounded to me, based on what you said about the extra dimensionals and their ability to phase in and out of, solid forms, it kind of sounds like maybe that night you got the interns on their first day. It just sounded like they were incompetent.
Yeah. For your listeners, my experience was that I was, shortly after my observation experience of a UFO, about a week later, and because one of the things we've seen in these cases is that these UFOs have direct contact with people. They seem to hit them with the spotlight. They collect the information on the people and seem to take it somewhere else where a decision is made to make contact with the people. And so that's what happened to me about a week later. I was sleeping in my parents' home, and I had suddenly, it was probably about 2 o'clock in the morning. And I was trying to stay awake, like a game that little boys play, trying to stay awake as long as they can. Mm-hmm. And that particular night, I was trying to stay awake as long as I could. It's probably more like 3 in the morning. And then suddenly the room changed. My bedroom changed, the air, the atmosphere, everything just changed completely. And I went stiff. I went stiff as a board. I could not move. And then I felt what felt like children's hands at my feet and head, and they were able to lift me up like a half-filled helium balloon. They were able to just lift me up, and if they left me for a moment in the air, I stayed right there, wherever they would leave me in the air. But as they kept moving me, I saw the ceiling coming closer and closer, and they was just getting way up there, and the ones who were carrying me were climbing on top of nothing. There was nothing there, but they were climbing on it, and I saw the ceiling coming closer and closer to me until eventually I saw the children who I thought were children were carrying me, were passing through the ceiling easily themselves, but then they were pushing me through, and my forehead hit against the ceiling and wouldn't go through. And they kept lowering me and looking at this spot on the ceiling like the worst engineers in the world, and trying to see if there was something wrong with that spot on the ceiling. And then they kept on lifting me up, and same result. It kept hitting against the ceiling. And as they did that, I was able to move my neck more and more. At some point, I was able to twist my neck enough to look down way over. My parents' bedroom was right next across from my bedroom, all separated by a door, and the door was wide open. I could see into my parents' bedroom. There were 2 more of what I thought were these little children that were standing over my parents' bed, holding their hands over their bed, like they were creating some kind of stasis field, because they appeared to be keeping my parents from waking up, and they were struggling to wake up because they were in pools of sweat and twisting side to side, but they just couldn't wake up. And then I saw the one standing over my dad's bed closest to me, and he that one looked up at me, and I saw then that they were not children. They were, the shape of their heads were different. They were very alien looking, and they had, the one that was looking at me had those sort of black almond shaped eyes, very large and very black, and his eyes met mine. And then I heard the words from them, the last words I would ever hear from them. I heard in my head, "He's awake." And then I had a cord was cut, and I fell heavy, way heavy, far into my bed, like a sack of potatoes. And they were gone. Everything was gone. The air had changed again, changed back.
Right. So you were awake in every sense of the word after that.
Oh yes, absolutely I was, except that I was getting ready to wake up my parents and start shouting and screaming, and then I just fell asleep, like knocked over, like hit with a tranquilizer dart. I was just out, and I was out for a long time, because in the morning I woke up and all the adults were just walking around and trying to come up with a story to cover what had happened to them, because they had all had some shared lucid dream that they were being abducted by this group of these four little beings, these little gray beings that were pulling them on a rope across a landscape towards a big metal black structure. And so they were trying to come up, but they were very religious. They were a very religious group, so they had to come up with their explanation of what happened. And so they said it was some kind of a demonic attack on the home due to a charm being, in the homes, hidden somewhere. And they sat around to prove that was the case. They didn't listen to me. I was trying to tell them about alien visitors, what they were. They didn't want to hear any of that. So that was my great experience my great contact experience that I had when I was about 10 years old.
Was that the last experience did you have, or did you have others after that? Or
I had others that were in the course of investigations that I had in the FBI, and that's kind of a touchy area, because I have to figure out how I can talk about those experiences when they're in the course of an investigation. Because one of the funny things about that is that you can talk about other people's investigations, and you don't violate any secrecy requirements, especially if you just talk about them as far as what you believe happened. But you can't really talk, it's difficult to talk about your own investigations. So I have to work out how I can tell those stories about my own experiences with alien visitors and during my investigations, in the course of my investigations.
So lately it seems like we go in cycles for this. Once again, disclosures in the news, in the mass media and mainstream. Do you think it's going to be, because we're not going to get anything solid from the government. You in your book you say you can't solve a problem from the people or entity or system that created the problem, or right. Einstein said that, basically paraphrasing. Right. But right. So is disclosure just going to have to be a personal truth and faith, rather than a government entity telling you, here they are, here it is?
Well, no, I think what we're getting right now, especially as of December 16th, when all the orders changed for everybody, like the mainstream media's orders, the national structure's orders, we've had orders have been out since 1947, since Roswell. There have been orders out to all the nations and all of the media and everyone that you will not ever reveal anything real about real UFOs or real alien visitors, ever, under any circumstances. And if anything is revealed, you have to cover it up immediately. And that's been the standing order for the last, 70 years, I guess. And something changed on December 16th when we saw this Tom DeLonge group, and we saw the Pentagon give the go-ahead for this actual UFO to be shown on and to be paraded around by the New York Times and CNN and all the mainstream media. Something changed. Those orders changed. So yeah, we're having confirmations That's what we're having. Confirmations of little incidences of disclosure, of real revelation of what's really going on. And they showed that Pentagon video, the gun sights from that pilot that showed an actual real UFO, an authentic UFO with some kind of extraterrestrial technology, because there was no thrust shown in these infrared gun sights. There was no thrust. There was no rotor wash. There was no physical means that this thing was using to go 20,000 miles an hour. And so it was some kind of gravity disruption technology that this thing was using, and several others. And now they've got mainstream media, and you've got politicians who have never revealed anything to the American people, and they're out there saying, yeah, UFOs are real. And you've got New York Times reporters actually going on and looking very annoyed, by the way, at the change in the orders. They're looking
really.
They're a lot of these CNN guys. If you watched them when they were doing these reports, they looked confused and they looked hurt, because these orders, they've had these orders their entire lives to treat UFO stuff as ridiculous and untrue. And suddenly those orders have changed, and they don't know why. And it's just really funny. So yeah, I think you're right, Sir Lana, that we're not going to get real disclosure. Of course, we're not. But they are going to continue this confirmation thing of taking these real UFO incidences and show. And we also, by the way, have to do the same thing. That's something that I do. I take certain cases that have been previously denied by the government, and I take them around and I show them to people, and wherever I can, and I say to them, this is real disclosure, this is real revelation of what's really going on, and we need to do it ourselves. You're right. We need to do it for each other, but we also need to realize that there is what is really coming is revelation directly from alien visitors to us, to experiencers, and to those who are open to this reality. That is ultimately what is going to be happening. But in the meantime, I think they're planning to do something else in addition to that, and that's why we're seeing these carefully constructed government plan moving forward. That is doing these little confirmation and these confirmation videos. I think that's going to continue also.
You know, John, you brought up Tom DeLonge, and he is an interesting fellow, to say the least, and the whole disclosure movement. You know, my concern is that with technology and the things that we have out there today, where, for the lack of a better phrase, fakeness out there, how do we differentiate between what is real and what is not real? Because sure, you know, it's almost like, boy, this ice cream is delicious. Oh, it's so delicious. And you know what I'm getting at here is that how can we believe a story that's so sensational that it's like, wow, he's got this person, he's got that person. You know, where do we have to? I mean, I feel like I want to believe, just like the poster says. But at the same time, I'm kind of skeptical, and I'm kind of holding back. What are your thoughts, and how do you come to a point where, yes, I think I can believe in this, or I'm kind of holding back on that?
Yeah, I would say the answer to that is that you have to believe in the person that is bringing the information forward, because you know you're a technical guy, and you know probably better than anybody that a person who's really good with this sort of thing can create or fake, you know, just about anything. Just about anything. It can be done. But when you have human sources that are trustworthy, reliable, that are people that you feel can be trusted, then you have to believe. Your own spiritual discernment ultimately has to be the final arbiter of that. Not your technical know-how, because if you go by your technical know-how, Spaceboy, then everything's going to be fake. because you know how to do this stuff. So you can't depend on that. You have to depend on your spiritual discernment ultimately. And I know that sounds way out there, but that's ultimately what it comes down to. And I'll tell you one thing. Tom DeLonge is a very, very sincere individual. And he absolutely believes in the truth of everything he puts forward and everything that he's involved in. The problem is that he's involved with groups that involve high officials from the CIA, from the Department of Defense, from the Secretary of Defense, and maybe other agencies even worse than that. That's the problem. So that's what creates this sense that makes people wonder, well, what's the real agenda here with these confirmations that these guys are showing, and these videos these guys are pulling out from the Pentagon and showing to us, and now it's finally admitting that these are actual authentic extraterrestrial UFOs. Why are they doing that? Why has everyone's orders changed? Why is the New York Times under new orders, CNN under new orders? Why? And the answer is, it doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter, because what we have to do is take the benefit of the confirmations they're showing us, because they're going to be pulling out more videos that show real UFO incidences, true, authentic extraterrestrial UFO incidences. And we have to grab that benefit and run with it. Because, and again, and also just be wary of what their ultimate agenda is, because I notice one of their agendas is to change our language to unknown aerial threats. to this, they're trying to herd us towards this idea that all alien UFOs, it's all a threat, it's all scary, and we may have this horrible alien invasion coming. And I think that's one of their ultimate agendas on that. And I think that also connects into the other big agenda that's going forward on the global scale, which is weaponization of outer space. And that's when we have to be.
I just found out, I guess I'm not as on the up and up as I should be, but I just found out about rods of God like 2 days ago.
Yeah.
And that's really interesting, because they're just these 20-foot tungsten rods, and that's all they are. There's no explosives on it. There's no nuclear weapon. It's just this giant projectile that will impact the Earth with the force of a meteor, but you've got no environmental problems after it hits. But it'll just create this crater and obliterate. Yeah. And it comes from launch from satellites.
Yeah. Well, the director of NASA, Wernher von Braun, after World War II, he predicted several fake wars, dialectic wars. And he predicted the Soviet Union against the United States. He predicted the war on terror, which would be the Islamic world against the Western world. These fake dialectics that would be put up by the global powers to keep us occupied and keep us from seeing what's really going on, who's really in control. And he predicted the final great fake dialectic would be a fake alien invasion.
Right.
That would be tied into the weaponization of outer space, but that in the final analysis, all of space would be weaponized. And with these unbelievable weapons, like these things you just said, rods of God and other things, where the Earth will be surrounded by space-based weapons that will supposedly be to help us protect us from unknown aerial threats, from this alien invasion. But in the final analysis, all those weapons will be turned inward towards us. Right. And they will exert a level of control that dictators have dreamed of and never could achieve in the past.
So did Ronald Reagan know more than, we think, or was he just told to say that in that speech about we could unite if there was an alien threat?
I think right when that happened, I think he had been briefed on some sort of contact with alien visitors. And I don't believe he was given a meeting or something like that, but he was briefed on something that had just happened. and that's why he talked about that, about alien invaders, and that's why it made it into that speech at that moment. I think that right about the time that he had done that, Rendlesham may have happened, which was in 1980, and it did involve an American military base on British soil.
Oh yes, we're familiar.
So two nations immediately, didn't have to wait for orders to do the cover up. That was immediate. That's why I always say there was a standing order to all the nations as of 1947. You will immediately cover up or hide or do whatever you have to. Do not allow anything real to be revealed about alien visitors. That's why December 16th was so significant in what just happened with that revelation.
So you think something's changed, maybe an agenda has changed, and if I'm extrapolating from this book that I read of yours, these so-called aliens are interdimensional, that meaning they're not native to this Earth, to this solar system, to this universe, to this reality. They're from some other dimensions. If we take, I guess, the idea of a multiverse, they're somewhere in one of those layers, and they have that ability to materialize and dematerialize to physical form. And I like that you can account that for this could account for ghosts, crypto creatures, cryptids, and even demons. So my question for you is Skinwalker Ranch a portal?
I believe it is, And one of the weird things in this, I believe that the area of alien visitors has nothing to do, again, I will repeat this, the alien visitors and UFOs have nothing to do with putting together little rockets and tin cans and shooting them off into space, because those two things have nothing in common. This is an extra-dimensional experience. It is an extra-dimensional reality. These things are coming. This has much more to do with wormholes, gateways, and places and things that go from dimension to dimension than anything else. And I'm talking about alien visitors and UFOs, which I believe are a separate form of life. UFOs themselves are also empty, and they are a separate form of life that come along to assist alien visitors in carrying out small tasks. And that's what the cases that I have looked into, that is the common thread that I have seen in the clues and the patterns that I have followed in all these cases that I have looked at over the years. That's the thing that I see. And that is something that is so against the global agendas that are going forward. The global agendas want us to believe, they want us to believe what happened in Roswell. They want us to believe what happened in Roswell, that everything's physical, that these alien visitors are just like humans. They lock themselves in tin cans, they sail across the solar systems, and they come here and they can just crash and just end up a couple of dead bodies by the side of the road, just like any human
could be defeated, technically, if we believe that, maybe.
Yeah. Well, also, they want us to believe that alien visitors are completely physical because it helps the idea of alien imminency. It helps the idea of alien aerial threats. They could come here physically at any moment, and they could just take up residence here, invade us, and just be here. And that's not how it works. That's not the case.
It's scarier the way you put it. It's like, could one just materialize right next to you?
Exactly. They are actually far more powerful than these physical beings that the global powers want us to believe in. The real reality is they are far more powerful than that. But then again, so are we, because we are also extra-dimensional in nature. That's the trick there. And that's what we need to look into.
Could this be the real reason we're messing around with colliders like CERN, in dark matter?
Yeah, it could be, absolutely, because the people who are really looking in the right places for contact with alien visitors, that's exactly what they're doing. And one of them, as a matter of fact, is in the Tom DeLonge group. It's actually this Pandolfini. Pandolfi, sorry. His name is Pandolfi, and he is an individual who is very advanced quantum physics guy who is working with gateways and wormholes. And that's sort of the same type of work that CERN is actually doing. And so, yeah, CERN has they have the publicly announced nonsense that they for public consumption, but then they have their real projects that they're working on, which has to do with gateways into other dimensions. And that's the stuff where we really need to get up on, and we need to really find out what is going on with that, because that is the connection into the extra dimensionals.
We did a show on dark matter where I did research trying to figure out what it is, how it all works. And you got an English major trying to figure out science. So, but just the bit of research I did was just, I didn't like it. I didn't like what I found. I didn't like the things that they're doing, even trying to pull apart the fabric of the universe just for fun.
Yeah,
see if they can.
I kept mentioning to her, it's like Pandora's box. Once that box is open up, there's no going back. It's something to think about.
Yeah, you just hopefully that if whatever damage they do will be confined to their immediate areas. That's the best we can do when they work on things like that.
All right. You also say there's no such thing as the New World Order. I'm guessing you could say there's no such thing as the Illuminati because you say epic, the elite powers in control, are even more ancient. Is more ancient than that. And they're what's really behind, are maybe running the planet, or our so-called shadow governments. And
well, I use the word epic, the elite powers in control, but it is the same as what people refer to as the Illuminati, the NWO. But I just don't want to get demonetized on YouTube and Google, and I don't want to get banned on Twitter. And if you use, there's a lot of loaded words that we need to get away from. We need to get away from, and we need to create fresh language for, because these people, the epic, the elite powers in control, they control these global institutions. Whether you're talking about Facebook, YouTube, and so when they see too much of free thought, awakened people. They see too much red pills going back and forth. They will demonetize you. They will ban you. They will kick you off. And so an easy way to avoid that is avoid their algorithms, because they can only do it through algorithms. They can't do it through human people or human analysts. So we just change our language. That's all we got to do. And that's one of the things I advocate in every book I write. I always have a glossary of new terms in the back, a Tama lexicon, where I give people ideas for new terms, where people should, I say, and I explain the exact reason why you should use this word. Instead of UFOs, I say we should say plasmas. Instead of aliens, we should say extra dimensionals. And I go through every single word and term that gets us in trouble all the time.
Oh, you're bypassing filters.
Or red flagging, words that red flag.
Yeah, exactly, because you don't need to paint targets on our backs. Yeah. We don't need to do that when we're just talking to each other.
Yeah, and then after YouTube just went through this adpocalypse thing too, so they're probably extra sensitive looking for this stuff now. So.
Oh, absolutely, and that's going to continue, and that's why we need to use fresh language. I mean, how hard is it? I mean, why are we still saying Bigfoot after how many hundreds of years? Why are we still saying UFO for that matter? There's no need for it. UFO doesn't hardly mean anything, really. We should always have other language that we can use, fresh language that conveys a better sense of certainty and knowledge.
Well, and language in general doesn't necessarily stay stagnant. It evolves. It grows.
Right.
And so why wouldn't the language that we use in the community that that we all find interesting, whether it be Bigfoot or whether it be ufology or I think the language needs to grow.
Yes, and it never has in 70 years. Now, why is that? The reason is because these areas, whether you're talking about ufology or the paranormal, they are extremely important to the elite powers in control. It is very important to them to control these areas and to control the meanings, because if you control the linguistics, you control the thought, and that's what they want, and that's exactly why we're still using language from 1950s Air Force pilots to describe UFOs. it's crazy. That's why we still say Bigfoot instead of crypto creatures. That's why we say ridiculous things that mean nothing. It's because these areas are very, very controlled. To the elite powers in control, ufology and the paranormal are more important to control than economics, than finance, than politics. And that's one of the things people just don't understand how important it is to them.
And they've done a good job, making people who do believe and talk about it and research it into saying, "Oh, these are crackpots," conspiracy theorists are silly, and
kind of downplaying all that. Yeah.
Oh yes.
Or when pilots see a UFO, it's like they don't even most pilots don't even say it for fear for losing their jobs because they're gonna whatever organization is going to come down on them and get them out of the driver's seat.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But now that's changing. Changing. So that's going to keep on changing. So we're going to see which way they're driving this, because they are always all about control, and they're going to continue to control it. But now it's towards other purposes. So we'll see which way they're trying to hurt us with this in these areas.
So they're trying to get this control, these extra dimensionals through whatever sources they're using. I don't know. What is their purpose? Now, in your book, you mentioned something that really got my attention. You said, our soul is more precious than gold. Yeah, because one of the questions, especially when I get into the extra-dimensional thesis with people, the main thing they always ask is, well, okay, so what is it the alien visitors want from us? What do they want? And I have to preface that by saying, okay, there's two types of alien visitors. There's only two types that really matter. And it's not a species. It's not the Greys and the reptilians and the Nordics. It's actually the beneficial alien visitors who want to help us, who I've talked to witnesses who've had their diseases healed, very serious sicknesses healed by alien visitors, who I've talked to others who've been saved in large numbers by alien visitors. There are alien visitors that see us as allies who want to help us. They just want to help us. And then there's malevolent alien visitors as well that just have complete contempt for human life, like the ones that in 1961 took Betty and Barney Hill in the first classic alien abduction, where there was a stalking period, there was an acquiring period, and then there was bringing them on the supposed ship and the examination period, and that really set up the classic, globally known alien abduction for both of them. And that was an experience, a very malevolent experience for them. They experienced creatures that were very contemptuous of their lives. I read that book by Stanton. And
Kathleen Martin.
Kathleen Martin. I was trying to remember her name.
I was going to say, John, in your experience, or maybe even your opinion, have you seen a decline in stories of abduction, or has it stayed the same, or is it on the rise?
No, definitely on the rise. In not just in abduction experiences, but contact experiences, observation experiences, and I'm talking about the 3 to 5% that are actually real, authentic, or that are so unexplainable that they are likely authentic extraterrestrial experiences. Stanton Friedman, when he would be attacked by conventional scientists who used to work with him, he got tired of being questioned by them one time, and he said, "What does it have to do with me that 95% of all UFO cases are not true, or are insufficient evidence, or just happen not to be authentic? That has nothing to do with me." He said, "All I care about is the 3 to 5% of experiences, of UFO experiences and alien visitor experiences that are actually genuinely unexplainable and possibly extraterrestrial." So those are the only ones that matter, and those could be just few every year, out of just hundreds out of the thousands and thousands reported. But that still adds up to something that requires attention. And we need to look at those things and see what is really going on with this, because we're not getting answers on those from anywhere. But Sirlana, to answer what you said before about what do they actually want both beneficial and malevolent alien visitors, they want the same thing from us. They want connection with human beings. They want connection. And why is it? Because we have something that they possibly do not have. Mm-hmm. We have some sort of celestial connection back to creator force that they are lacking for some reason. Well, and then in that case, I'm talking about the malevolent alien visitors. They are lacking of that. They're lacking in that because they have undone themselves of that cord, that silver cord that connects them back to creator force. That is the only
like
thing.
Fallen angels in a way.
In fact, I was just thinking that too.
Yeah, and everything is like, what's your filter? What's the filter you use?
Yeah.
And some people use that religious filter. Other people use just the scientific filter, and I'd say both are very bad when that's your only filter. I think we need to step back from that and just kind of like have a cosmic filter on these things, where we're neither religious or strictly Newtonian scientific either, where we just can step back and look at these things in a wider scope.
It does sound like they're looking for something like a soul if they don't have one. Because you pointed out, I read this to Spaceboy today from your book, like the most seductive type of humans or the highly creative types, like musicians was the first in your list, and he's like, oh great. I said, and highly intelligent. I said, well, I'm safe. So
it's a weird thing. It's like the creative left brain people have much higher numbers in abductions than the right brain type of people. I mean, both are still, there's all types that are taken, but apparently the left brain. And another strange thing is that people who come back with implants. Another strange phenomena that was revealed by the great Roger Lear when he was alive. A strange phenomena is that, and I also have cases that I've looked into that prove this, that people with these implants that come back from these abduction experiences have their own creative abilities greatly increased by orders of magnitude. I have one lady, Martha X, that I have in my book, The Extra Dimensionals, who I've studied.
I read that today.
Yeah, and she actually, and I don't know if I included this in the story, but she used to be a mediocre artist. She was, as a matter of fact, amateur artist, and who would sketch for people like on the beaches. She would sketch for people at tourist spots and just make a small living. After her abduction experience, however, and after receiving several implants, which she has kept, by the way, she became a world-famous artist who sells paintings for like $40,000 to $50,000 each, and that's not uncommon among the people who have experienced abductions and have received implants. And of course, we know many others have developed paranormal abilities that are amazing. And that's one of the reasons why a lot of these people keep their implants. It's not, I'm not saying it as a value judgment, good or bad, but it's just a reality. That's something that we have seen over and over again in these cases.
So are the good guys doing that, enhancing that talent, or are they getting something from it too? The
people who I'm talking about who have received tend to have what they believe are neutral experiences, where they just go through an abduction. It's not cruel to them. It's not good. It's not necessarily great either. Sometimes it is positive experience for the most part, but most of them have not. The ones I'm talking about have not had negative experiences, as far as I could see.
Well, John, but I know we're getting close to the bottom of the hour, and I know we only have you until then. But as always, I like to make sure our guests put out their social media and all that, where they can find you. And could you do that at this time? And then,
sure.
Yeah,
sure. I can stay longer if we can do some questions. Because I know I see this chat room going crazy here.
Yeah, unfortunately, we booked our next guest at the bottom of the hour.
Well, there's one question from Casper Sparks. He says, does John have any thoughts about that UFO video being on German CGI film company's website back in 2007? They claim they had no idea how the video ended up on their servers and did not create it. That seems a bit scary.
Wow. I did not know that they say they don't know how they got it. I know which video he's talking about, but I always thought they created it. But that really says that it could actually be a genuine video then. If they are, and they haven't, I don't see they have a reason to lie. So that actually could be a genuine, real UFO video that ended up on their servers. That's pretty amazing. But yeah, I've got a lot of videos that I am going to be traveling around the country and revealing to people as confirmations, like what we saw on December 16th. And I'm really looking forward to that because there's been a problem with the DeLong group. There's been a President Trump he put out a query who at the Pentagon authorized that video to be shown. And there's a lot of scrambling going on, and nobody wants to fess up what they did at the Pentagon. So that group may be stymied for a little while. So I think it falls to the rest of us to continue this disclosure process by any means necessary.
I have one last question, because you do talk about whistleblowers and them coming out, and their benefit of their knowledge to the public is sometimes not worth it to what they've lost. So, real quickly, what's your opinion about someone like Edward Snowden? Was it worth him having to defect to another country for the information we got from him?
Well, Snowden is he's a very special case because he revealed such a system of illegality and unconstitutional surveillance that I really think that the president hopefully will pardon him, and he will be the same thing with the other guy, the Swedish guy who's at the Ecuadorian embassy. I forget his name.
Assange, isn't it?
Yes, Assange with
Julian.
Assange as well. So I'm hoping those guys will get pardons very soon, because we're living in surveillance, an absolute surveillance state, and it's all illegal. It's all unconstitutional. It's all absolutely wrong. And but that's part of the global powers, because the global powers are the ones who are really in charge here, and so we need to fight against that sort of thing. And so I am on the usual though, on the real I am mostly against whistleblowers, simply because all of the stuff that we work on in exopolitics and ufology, the stuff is all in the public domain. That video that was shown on December 16th was actually released in public previously at some point. All of these things, all of this information is all out in the public. There is really no need for people to violate their secrecy oaths anymore. There really isn't, because the stuff, there's so much information. We're living in an age of information flooding, of data flooding.
Right.
And so this stuff is out there, and it's just a matter of being able to take apart the information and show what's real and what's not. That's all that really falls to us. It's very rare, very, very rare that you really need a Snowden or an Assange, because the systems, the things that we're dealing with, the stuff is already, it's available. It's out there. Just go on vault.fbi.gov, and you'll see so much UFO investigations and investigations material, cattle mutilation, and all kinds of paranormal investigations. Wow. It's all out there.
Well, thanks for that URL. We'll put that in the chat. I have like 3 more pages of notes and questions for you, so we're gonna. We want to have you back where we can give you the full time you can give us. And I know you're about to go to Contact in the Desert?
Oh, yes. I'm going to Contact in the Desert. I will be there I'll be there in June. Let me see. It'll be June, from June 1st to at Indian Wells, California. Contact in the Desert.
It's going to be in air conditioning this time, I hear.
Oh yeah, it's going to be.
We've been there twice.
When there was no air conditioning.
Well, again, yeah, at the commune. So, yeah, that was too challenging for me, and I said, yeah, I can't do this. I can't go back here.
And I'll be in Tulsa, Oklahoma in March with John Noble. We'll be doing Crash Landed, which is like a con. You guys know about the cons.
Yes.
And the great actor from Fringe, he'll be there for that.
Oh, yeah.
And,
Cool.
and also in March, I will be doing the George Noory show in Scottsdale, Arizona. George Noory Live, April 21st.
Awesomeness.
And I think many other things as well that are coming up quickly. But yeah, we got to try to spread the word on real disclosure by any means necessary. Absolutely.
And get awakened.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Very, very important.
That's what we're trying to do. We're just trying to find the truth.
It's out there.
Well, he loves X-Files, so.
Anyway, John, our door is open to you. We would love to have you back at some point, like Solana was saying. It just so happened we had you for the 1 hour book. But, like I said, our universe is open for you to ever come back, and I hope you'll take our invitation up on that.
Great. Sounds great, Space Boy. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And
It's great.
Solana. Thank you. Oh, and under vault.fbi.gov, also put, they have to go to the Unexplained Phenomena tab, which opens up all the UFOs and all the other stuff. So it's vault.fbi.gov and then Unexplained Phenomena. That's it.
Cool.
Excellent.
Thanks.
Appreciate
Thanks,
that so
guys.
much.
John, like I said, we've got more stuff for you, so we'll reach out to you soon and see when we can arrange to get you back on the show and kind of go from there.
Thanks so much, guys. Thanks so much.
Have a great evening.
Thanks. Take care, guys.
Bye-bye. Wow, that...
I knew that was going to be good.
it was good. I had to say it, and it just so happens that, it was good. That's period. That's all I had to say on it. So, looks like we're at the bottom of the hour, Solana.
We're going to take a break, eh?
So, we're going to take a break.
Sound like a Canadian.
Get our next guest on, eh? And, I'm just trying to make our Canadian friends feel welcomed. In
all two of them.
All two of them. And, Miss Michelle, I guess she's in Nova Scotia, right?
Yeah, I guess that qualifies her.
Yeah, so they know the lingo. Hey, I'm Spaceboy, and that's Solana over there. I usually have to say her name because she usually gets a little mixed up there. But
you make me laugh.
I try to, but you don't acknowledge it most of the times, and it really makes me sad. So anyway... We'll be back right after this.
You are listening to Spaceboy Universe on the SBU network.
Explore the universe with Spaceboy and Solana.
No,
hey,
no.
this is Space Boy, and we're back. We got our next guest on the line, and let me do a quick introduction. Dawn-Greenfield-Ireland has been writing stories since attending summer camp around the age of 7. To date, she has written 6 novels, 2 contemporary mysteries, and 4 science fiction. Man, she loves science fiction. 15 screenplays, comedies, dramas, and I guess 1 supernatural horror, action, adventure, and science fiction, and 3 short scripts. She is the CEO of Artistic Origins, Inc., and it is a 100% owned independent publisher. and technical writer service company that has been doing business since 1995. Please give a warm welcome to dawn-greenfield-ireland. Hello, Dawn. Did we lose her?
Mm-mm. Oh, yeah, I guess. No, she's still connected.
Are you on a headset, Dawn? Technical.
Okay, it looks like she's hung up.
Did the number display that she called from?
Let's see. I am just... This new layout is...
Tonight is brought to you by Microsoft Skype. When you need a call to completely fail on you.
Hey, are you back?
No?
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 Okay.
Hello? Okay, so we're working through Solana's working through the technical difficulties over there. I'm just having warm fuzzies for Microsoft Skype right now. And I'll probably have nightmares tonight like I did a few days ago when I had this dream that I was an Aztec warrior and I was about to be sacrificed, on this top of the pyramid thing, and as they were ripping me open, I saw family members of past and present all surround me, and friends too. And just as the I guess whatever the high priestess pulls out my heart, I felt the universe fade away and then disappeared into nothingness. And so it was kind of a weird dream, and I meant to mention that earlier. And for some reason we got into something else during our startup session. And how are things going over there, Solana?
Nothing's going on over here.
Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, it was a strange dream, and I guess since I've been sick since the turn of the new year.
What is it about being sick that makes your dreams go to another level?
I don't know, but
even without medication.
It was a fantastic dream that if I could separate myself from the fact that I was killed during this dream.
I die all the time in my dreams.
And but I told you about the dream I had where I was in black and white, and then I crossed went over this hill, and all of a sudden it was in wonderful Technicolor, and that was a crazy dream as well.
Now, you've talked about that. That's one of my favorite dreams of yours, but still like to know what dreams you're dreaming when you're chatty Cathy over there and you're moaning, you're groaning, growling, humming, making popping noises. Yeah,
I'm trying to exorcise the demons from me. That's probably what's going on, and I'm fighting them, putting up a good fight. So Solana, I'm going to send you a message here in chat.
Gotcha.
Our personal chat, so
gotcha.
Nobody else can see this, what I'm about to send you. That is the number you need to call or try to reach. So, yeah, I'd like to know some of the dreams I'm having, too. But please, people, I know you can hear the stupid Skype stuff.
There is no way to turn it off. I have been through the settings. We've been everywhere.
There is a setting where it says in-app sounds, and it is flipped to the off position, and there's still things. So I've been in the process of trying to, create or find the WAV files so I can delete the WAV files.
Reached Dawn, Ireland. I can't come to the phone right now.
Okay, so we're still reaching out to her. See, and it's like I said in the beginning of our interview with John-desouza, we're not professionals. We're entertainers. We're here to entertain you. So that's all a part of the reason you turn in the Spaceboy Universe is for the entertainment factor. And some of the times where we have conversations about pillows being in places they shouldn't be. And then it makes it difficult for me to hug on my wife.
I downloaded a sample of one of her books this week, Prophecy of Thule. That's one of her sci-fi books, and it takes place recently, and it takes place in Katy, Texas, which is 3 miles that way. We're that close to Katy, Texas, where we are. And it's really interesting. I've got the sample gives you 6 chapters to read, so it's just enough to pull you in. And what I've read from this book she paints very rich pictures. The way she goes into detail about describing the room someone's sitting in. It's I really like that about a writer. What are these signals you're giving me?
Call her again.
All right, I'll give it a shot.
Okay.
We're
going to try to call again. And that is the...
Sorry.
Girl from Ipanema goes walking.
This is not our side of things.
No, this is 100% Skype. And we're dialing. Hopefully...
You've reached Dawn, Ireland.
No. So she's on the phone or something.
No, she says it's not ringing. So says she's in the mountains.
Okay. She should reboot her phone or something.
Have you tried to turn it off and on again?
Yeah. So, yeah, but I think I'm going to end up getting this book. I think I have to buy it because I'm like pulled in. And I've noticed her other books take place in Houston, some of them. So obviously she must have lived here at one time, so she knows the area fairly well.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing because she just told me that her internet is down.
Oh,
that's why the phone signals are dead. So, it is one of those strange and crazy nights. And so that's why she's not able, or maybe she got connected and then all of a sudden, her internet went out. So, and she's saying, "Oh, I'm so embarrassed." Don't be embarrassed.
And she's family. She gets a pass.
I was going to say, in full disclosure, Dawn is my aunt, and I've known her forever and a day, practically since I was born, and just a wonderful aunt. She sent me some pictures today, and it really made me kind of tear up. They're on my Facebook wall. If you follow me on Facebook, just if you want to follow me on Facebook, just look for Jim Guerrero. That's my name, but I prefer you to call me Space Boy because that's my stage name. So,
she's got another sci-fi book that's really sounds kind of heartbreaking but interesting. It's about the last dog on planet Earth because it was it's in the future and it was some kind of disease or chemical spray and it affected a lot of the biological life. And this couple has the only living dog left. Mm-hmm. So that is another book you can get on Amazon.
That kind of reminds me of the movie
The Last Dog.
Children of the God, or Children, or something where there's a woman. In other words, nobody can have children anymore. Somehow everybody's become sterile, and and all of a sudden, from out of nowhere, this woman is pregnant. And so that's kind of what reminded me of that story is that here's the last dog kind of situation. Mm-hmm.
The Prophecy of Thol is on Kindle Unlimited. So, yay. She's got a book about an eccentric elderly women who are heirs to a hot chocolate fortune.
Give it up for Donna, Children of Man. She knew what I was talking about. Whoop, whoop. So, yeah, I was talking about that movie. I knew it was Children of something, not like Children of the Corn or Children,
Children of the Corn was weird. Did you ever see that weird movie, Flowers in the Attic?
Yeah. Yeah,
Lord, that was challenging.
That was a movie back then, yeah.
All those V.C. Andrews movies,
The kids finally get out.
Oh, God, that's so... Ugh. We used to rent... This is before... Mystery Science Theater came along. My friend Holly and I would rent these $1 VHS tapes down at this place we used to go to, and we would get the most B, C, D rated movies, just things that you never heard of, and we would just have a blast making fun of it. And then Mystery Science Theater 3000 appears, and I was like, oh, we were ahead of our time. But it would be like. It'd be sci-fi, but it would be a little bit more toward horror, like Lawnmower Man type levels of things we would watch. I mean, we saw things I can't even remember the names of that were. I would try to describe them to you, and you'd probably never find these films out there in this day and age.
I think it was funny, kind of the one of the movies I was talking about with you. The movie is called Soul Catcher, and I had seen the movie in unmisted form.
Soul Taker.
Soul Taker.
Soul Taker.
What did I say?
Soul catcher, soul taker.
I was something like that. I'm having one of those nights.
I know my Misties.
Yeah, I know you do. And anyway,
I'm sorry, I'm clicking a pin. I
think you thought it was funny that I had watched it unriffed.
You watched a lot of things, in their native format.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's that goes back to it's before Blockbuster when I worked there, but I watched a lot of stuff. It was just like, okay, it was on, I'm going to watch it. Hey, it's coming on, I'm not going anywhere. I'm stuck in Bandera, nowhere to go. I don't have a car right now. Going to watch this, watch that, watch this. We had the big. My grandmother had the big satellite dish, the big ones,
Yeah, that giant one,
not the puny, tiny Direct TV ones that
the kind you need a backyard
that
for.
I love so much. That I just enjoy being accosted
you drive out
at
in the country
Walmart.
And you see the fields and the cows, those giant satellite dishes in people's yards.
Yeah, the kind that
you could crawl up in it.
The TV people, the TV stations use. You kind of see
some like open mesh looking.
But you'd get like for example, I'd get Star Trek, the Next Generation, and it was the feed they would send to the affiliates, so it didn't have the commercials. But what was kind of cool was during where the commercials would be, they would have the commercials for the show Star Trek, The Next Generation. Hey, this is what's coming up, and they'd have it several different ways, and so that was cool to watch Star Trek that way. No commercials, and getting to see the tune in next week kind of stuff. So pretty excited stuff.
I would have liked to have had that kind of satellite radio, not modern satellite, but. Back when it was first coming out, that clip you played earlier, you're stupid. You're so stupid. That's from the movie VHS, the Weird Al Yankovic movie, and I love UHF. I love that movie so much. I could sit down and watch that today and get as 100% enjoyment out of it as the first time I ever saw it.
I mean, who doesn't love a Twinkie cheese sandwich, a Twinkie ham sandwich? Is it Twinkie ham or Twinkie? I remember him taking
ham Winkie or
a ham, something like that.
They did something in Mystery Science Theater like that called Ham Dingers. Put ham in I think it was ham in a ding dong or something. They called it ham.
Hello. But
ham Winkie.
A ham Winkie. But yeah, I just remember Weird Al spraying cheese whiz.
Didn't he cut it open and then he stuck a hot dog in there and put cheese whiz on top?
Yes, he did. Yes.
Yeah, that was like, and then because he's a vegan now.
Well, back then he probably wasn't.
And he had Emo Phillips in there when Emo Phillips was still weird. And he's gotten all kind of normally
weird. I mean, when he was in that...
Let's try this again.
The Jingle Bell music.
Are you there?
I'm here. My cell phone isn't, but the home phone is.
Uh-oh. Yeah, just so glad that you managed to call back.
This is ridiculous. I tried restarting. Restarting didn't work, so I had to just shut everything down, unplug everything, and plug everything back in.
Well, we're excited to have you. I read your bio, and let's see if I can bring it up here and give you a proper welcome again. As I read earlier, as you went into oblivion, I said... Dawn-Greenfield-Ireland has been writing stories since attending summer camp around the age of 7. To date, she has written 6 novels, 2 contemporary mysteries, and 4 science fiction, 15 screenplays, comedies, dramas, 1 supernatural horror, action, adventure, and science fiction, and 3 short scripts. She's the CEO of Artistic Origins, Inc., and 100% woman-owned independent publisher and technical writer, that is, service company that has been doing business since 1995. So I've also given our audience the full disclosure that you're actually my aunt, and so to probably expect some funny stories on about me. But anyway, here she is after rebooting her machine or shutting it down and taking everything apart. Dawn-Greenfield-Ireland, how are you tonight?
Well, it's questionable, but we'll see how long the connection lasts. I'm doing pretty good, though. How about you?
Good. I'm fantastic. It was great reconnecting with you recently, and as I explained to you, I knew for the longest time I'd love to get you on the show. I just, for one reason or another, it just, trying to get you on. It's, since we do the 1 show a week, well, we actually do 2 shows, but that's another show altogether. Budgeting time to get somebody on a Saturday show and all that good stuff, it's been difficult. But I sat down and said, hey, I'm going to get you on the show, and here you are. And we had a great conversation, and it was great to hear from you, because I know I hadn't heard from you in quite some time. I know that you used to live here in Houston, but you kind of moved on.
Yeah, I was in Houston for exactly 44 years.
Ooh, wow.
And when I was downsized from my last job, I said the heck with it, because both of my sons had moved to the East Coast, and, you get to a point where you want to be close to your kids.
Mm-hmm.
So I moved 3 days before Christmas in 2015, and I bought a house up here. The house is going back on the market to get sold because I discovered that I made a really bad choice in my location, but, lessons learned.
Mm-hmm. So
Too rural. This is very, very rural.
So you're looking for something a little bit more populated?
Yeah, I'm probably going to end up down in Pennsylvania, outside of Philadelphia, where my oldest son lives, and I'll give that a try. I thought about coming back to Texas, but I really don't want to put up with the heat and humidity, and specifically the humidity. It's like, I did it, 44 years. I did it. I'm cooked. I'm done. I don't want to do that again.
Well, we can definitely vouch for what you're saying, especially most recent in the past year when we had the hurricane.
That was rough.
That was rough. And then, of course, most recently when we had 2 freeze days out of nowhere. The week before it was like, I guess, what was it, about 70, Solana? Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, 27 degrees. It's like, what the... so...
Well, it went down into the teens, because I remember one day it was warmer here in New York, where I live up in the mountains, than it was in Houston.
Mm-hmm.
I could not believe it. So bizarre.
Yeah, Houston was being blessed with strange weather since the hurricane. It's just been like, we had a little bit of snow, we had freezing, we had ice on the roads. They shut down the university I work at for 2 days during the week of MLK. That means I got 3 days off, because it was like the next day it was MLK and then 2 days off for ice. So that was nice.
So, as they say, how's the weather? But, we could talk about the weather left and right. We want to talk about you. So, that's what, not necessarily why we brought you on, but why we'd like to learn more about you. And
I love talking to authors.
Yeah, so Solana, you want to take over?
Because it's like, I don't think I can write, but that doesn't stop me from like wishing and hoping and being absolutely fascinated by the people who can. So I started reading Prophecy of, is it Thol or Thal? And Thal. And I got into it, and I was like, oh, she's writing about Katy, Texas. I've been there. So I was excited that,
They always tell you to write what you know.
Mm-hmm.
And basically that's, writing the area that you know, where you live, or the places that you have visited frequently, so you're really in tune to them. And I firmly believe in that. You've got to be able to give your reader, something that they're going to be interested in.
Mm-hmm.
So write what you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I love how rich your details are in painting a picture, even if it's just describing the room someone's sitting in. That really gets me going as a reader.
Oh, I'm glad. Because I love doing that. There are some people that don't like a lot of detail, but to me it's like, you've got to be able to, have the film going in your head.
Yeah, I got to see it in your mind.
Otherwise, what's the point? Yeah.
That's the great thing. There's no budget limitations in your mind. You can just describe the heck out of something that doesn't exist, and you can still get something in your mind. I know it's very basic, but that's reading for you. But that's what I've really enjoyed about what I've read so far.
Well, that's good. How far are you into it?
Chapter 6.
Oh, okay. You're doing pretty good then.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm a reader. I love to read. I was an English major, so I can consume books.
She's like a duck to water when it comes to reading. I mean, she's just constantly got her face buried into her phone.
Well, see, growing up, my parents were readers, and they would have a book in the bathroom, their bedroom, in the living room, and they would be at different stages on different books, and they were like, well, this is a book I'm reading in this room. You know? So
yeah, I mean, I know what you're talking about because I remember growing up, what I saw mostly was not my parents' faces, but, the seam, the spine of a book or a magazine or a journal or something like that. It's like, they were always reading. And my mother had this firm belief that it doesn't make any difference what you read. It could be a cereal box. It could be, anything. Just read and read every single day. You'll build your vocabulary. Your little brain will just, turn on.
Your comprehension.
And, it's good for you,
And your nephew's kind of bitter about my abilities to do.
What she pegs me as a non-reader. Now I don't read stuff that she reads. I love to read technical manuals, things that I like to know how things work, and so to me that's my reading.
Because you're a huge nerd.
And of course I do read stuff. I have some things that I read like Star Trek related, Star Wars related, and it's sci-fi related stuff that I like to read. Alien. I've read many books on that, but I mean, I guess it's you like chocolate. I like vanilla. That kind of situation. So we have different taste in our reading. And now she does criticize me in a way because I do listen to audio books or Audible. It's Audible. And so it makes it convenient for me to, like, if I'm like laying in bed, I don't have to keep my eyes open. I can just listen to somebody tell me about the story, and so I enjoy a good story being told. So that is always enjoyable too, and plus it helps me to cut down the amount of reading time. Like if I'm going to bed or if I'm driving in the car. You don't want to read a book while you're driving in the car. You can hear it on.
I read under the covers on my phone with my Kindle app.
Yeah, she does. I get this picture of her when she was a kid, like with a flashlight in a book when she, so.
Nothing like going to those paperback exchange stores. I've got such good memories of those. I mean, I would have a stack. I would have shopping sacks and turn them in and get 2 shopping sacks or more out. So.
Well, when I'm not editing someone's book, I'm reading, and I read anywhere from 2 to 6 books a week, depending on how much time I have in between, everything else I'm doing. I love reading, and I read just about, I read across genres. It doesn't make any difference what, as long as it sounds interesting, I'll give it a try. But I get pretty angry when I start in a book and there's errors on every single page.
Oh my gosh. Is that one of the traps?
It's someone that on their book cover it says that they're a best-selling author. It's like, honey, you don't even know where the spell check key is.
Yeah, is that because of the whole self-publishing thing now, or editors getting that sloppy?
I don't know. I mean, I've read books, that have been self-published or have been published, through small presses. And I think I've even read a couple of books by the, some of the giants that were not edited very well. So you have to ask yourself, how did that happen? So maybe an editor did, edit the book, give the notes to the writer, and the writer never made the changes. Maybe the writer expected the editor to make the changes. I'm not really too sure. But somebody has to take responsibility because there's nothing worse than reading something that has errors on every page.
It pulls you out of the story. It's jarring.
Yeah. And I don't know about you, but I'm one of those where I will read it to the bloody end. I will force myself to get through it because I want to know if they, got their act together somewhere along the way, and maybe the first 100 pages was just
a fluke,
some big mistake. Just, it's so irritating.
Yeah. So, when you're writing, do you feel, when you're writing your fiction, do you feel energized, or when you finish a project, are you like exhausted, or do you have a sense of accomplishment?
Well, when I'm writing, I'm in the zone. I'm just like on fire. I have to get up every once in a while, just to give my brain a rest. And when I finish a project, it's like, it's a borderline between a relief and anguish. It's like, oh, God, it's like I was so used to being with these characters and this whole situation for so long, and now it's finished, and it just doesn't seem fair,
I can.
And no, I don't ever have writer's block. I don't believe in it.
Yeah, that's something I was reading about. It's like, don't ask a writer about writer's block, and that's like, you can ask a writer if they believe in it. It's just, I guess, either you're not feeling it or you are.
Well, I have unlimited ideas. I mean, I have file folders filled with scraps of paper, full pages of paper. I mean, I have so many story ideas, it's unreal.
I know someone just like that.
Yeah, it's like what I need is, an extra pair of eyes and maybe another set of hands and another monitor, so I could just, write as much as I want all the time. And I wish I had a housekeeper to take care of everything else in the house.
Amen.
So, yeah, so I could just sit here and write all day, because I've got 2 books that are waiting to get out the door, and it's just, like time for everything else. How do I do it?
Right.
It's difficult. I imagine it's difficult to find that time for the creativity within you to put the words that are in your head to paper or to digital format. I know that me personally, when taking the time to write music that I do, usually it takes me about a year to create an album. This particular roundabout is taking me a little bit longer, so I can relate on that in the sense of wanting to get it out, but just not having the time, or just.
Well, yeah, I have a dear friend who writes, not as she'd like to do it for a living, but she has to have a job that makes money, and she has a full-time job, full-time family, and does horse rescue too, because she's passionate about it, and she doesn't get paid for that or anything. But I swear that girl gets physically ill when she can't get the creative juices out to do something creative. I swear she becomes physically ill.
Yeah, and some people get what's called completion depression. Mm-hmm. So when they finish a project, they just they just slide down the slippery slope into depression, and sometimes they have to go check into a hospital or something. I've never experienced anything like that, but I remember reading about it. Hopefully I'll never have to, think of anything like that.
Do you find that you have drive once you've completed something to, okay, I need to get back on the saddle, or do you take a little time off, or you feel like, hey, I've just cranked this out, I need some time off, or is it like the Stephen King thing where he's just I can't even get the word. Thank you, I'm a little tongue-tied. Yeah, and just to get the next one out.
How does he crank that out?
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I would love to be able to, crank things out like that. I'm sure that, he has a lot more help. Or even in his early days, at least he had his wife, somebody to help him. But, I mean, it's just me. These 2 cats don't do a damn thing around here. I can't even get them to dust, It's like a lot of help they are. But, for me, it's, I'll finish something, and then Then comes cleaning up the desk because I've got paper all over the desk. And then comes making sure that, all my files are in the place that they're supposed to be, and, the current version is there. Everything is fine. I can send it to, the editor, then I can send it to the formatter, and then I can get the cover guy to, start creating something. I mean, and then while I'm doing all of that, I'm still in the process of, okay, what do I start on next?
Mm-hmm. What kind of research, if you do research, do you do for your fiction?
Oh, I do in-depth research. I mean, every character has to have a background. They have to have some kind of profession. So you've got to know exactly, what goes on in that profession. What do they do? What should they never do? What would they never do in a million years? So you can play off of all of those things. Then you have to, do research on your location. A lot of my stuff, as you've figured out, is all situated in Houston. So I have to know, what I need to know about those areas. And that's really obvious in my Cozy Mysteries because everything is in the River Oaks area and into Bel Air. I think I used just River Oaks and Bel Air, maybe a little bit of Westview, but
the affluent areas of Houston.
So you need to know, the streets and what's around there, and some of the habits and all that. And then there's the whole, premise of the book, okay, what is it going to be about? If I'm in the mysteries, I've got the murders, so I have to do an awful lot of research on, what kind of a situation I'm going to have crop up. And none of my murders are just regular old, bang, bang, you're dead. They're all very unique, very unique. But in the science fiction, then I have all the things that I dream up. I've got to have some kind of reference that people can understand. So I spend time trying to find something on our home planet here that has some, likeliness to, something that I create in another realm or another planet or whatever. But it's a lot of fun. And I know people that don't even do any research. They just make things up, and it's like you can't make things up. You have to. I mean, you do make things up, but I mean, as far as your
certain amount of believability, maybe to.
Yeah, you've got to make sure that you can suspend someone's belief that they're gonna buy into what you're trying to tell them.
Samuel Taylor Coleridge.
I've had really good feedback on Prophecy of Fall. I haven't had any feedback on The Last Dog yet, so I don't know about that. That's my that's a dystopian, futuristic thing that I've got set in 2086. So I've got a lot of things that I've created in there that, in that story that, who knows,
Well, we've got an audience listening, and I've linked directly to your Amazon books for these different books, so they can go and read these and leave you feedback.
Oh, okay, that'd be great. I really need some reviews, and only honest reviews, because I don't want somebody saying, "Oh, it's so good." What the hell does that mean? It's like, what does that mean?
Well, what's the most?
It's so good.
What's the most difficult part of your artistic process, or your coming up with stories or ideas?
Well, I don't have any problem coming up with stories or ideas. for me, the most difficult thing is just basically having the time to get it down on paper. I mean, The Last Dog, that was really strange. I mean, I considered that to be just a complete download from the universe. Don't laugh, but I mean, I was trying to take a nap. I was really tired. This was several years ago. I was trying to take a nap, and the whole idea just came. You know, I mean, and I wasn't going to get up. I mean, I was just going to stay in bed taking a nap. And it just kept coming and coming and coming, all this information, all this detail. So I finally hauled myself into my office and sat down and just cranked out, you know, I think like maybe 5 or 6 pages of a complete outline and started banging away at it. So, and that's the second book that's happened to me about. It's really quite interesting when it happens.
You know, over the years that you've written, I mean, are there, you know, you imagine going into your own mind to find ideas and things, but what other sources that have come along, movies or other books or even music for that matter, that have inspired you to create an idea or a story?
Oh, gosh, you know...
or books that have had a huge impact on you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, books have a huge impact. I mean, I started reading at a young age, you know, just because my family, you know, that's all they ever did was read when they weren't working on the farm. And I remember the very first book that I read was, you know, this is after, you know, like Dick and Jane type stuff, but I mean, it was Bamba the Jungle Boy. So from there, and my grandfather, on my mother's side of the family, he was a huge reader. And so from Bamba the Jungle Boy, I went to Edgar Rice Burroughs, all his Tarzan, and then the Mars series, and then H.G. Wells, and then as I got a little bit older, Ursula Le Guin. Gosh, you know, just so many authors. It's just unreal. But and then for movies, Close Encounters was one of my favorite movies.
Oh, yeah.
And I could still watch it to this day. You know, it doesn't make any difference. I mean, I just love that movie. I loved The Matrix. That had a really big impact on me.
2 movies that they say may actually be documentaries that we don't know.
Uh-huh. That doesn't surprise me.
A movie you didn't mention that I'm surprised is Starman.
Oh, I love Starman. I own Starman. I've watched that probably 80 times. I mean, I absolutely love that movie. And then, of course, I've loved, you know, Star Wars and Star Trek. I didn't watch Star Trek all that much after the first, you know, like, few years.
Mm-hmm.
After the original cast, I just really wasn't that interested in it.
That's a shame. There's just a lot of good stuff. There's a lot. We were married at the Star Trek experience in Vegas.
You know, I was going to say that if you were to partake in a trek through the Trek universe, our recommendation would probably be Deep Space Nine. It was well written. They had wonderful story arcs.
You got to get past the first 3 seasons, and it's like bam.
But yeah, once you get in, the story is rich. It's delicious. It's the true
conflict
emphasis of drama, space drama. That you could get on TV, yeah. There's
some silliness in there, and you know.
But after that 3rd season, it's really good. But yeah, I can understand where you're coming from. When it was great back in the '70s when they actually syndicated the original series. because it built an audience and people got into it. But
I'm the reverse of you, Don. I never saw the original series other than Beyond Clips. I'm like, oh, this is not for me. This seems so dated and cheesy. And I came into it flipping channels one day and went, oh my gosh, who is this attractive bald man? And then from there, it kind of just snowballed. That's
there you go, James. Just lose all the hair and you'll be okay.
Oh, trust
do
me.
not. Don't talk about the hair. Oh, God.
She is trying to stress me out to the point where I'm losing my hair. And right now I've got a really nice yarmulke on.
Flesh yarmulke.
Yeah, so it's built up back there. But that's why, I have hey, this is my good side. That's my good side. No, don't take that picture. So, I hate to sound like I'm vain in any way, but I'm just trying to hold on to my youth as Dorian Gray,
Yeah, he is annoyingly good looking.
Head. Just shave it. Bald-headed men are sexy.
He's done that. He has buzzed his hair down to the scalp, and he still looks amazing.
Good.
Like Walter White, so. But
and I got to tell you, another one of my favorite movies is Avatar. I absolutely love.
So are you looking forward? They're going to make more Avatar movies. So is that pretty exciting to hear about that?
Oh yeah, I'm waiting. On the one about I can't remember what the title was going to be, but it's about under the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
I'm waiting on that. I've been waiting on it. Come on, James Cameron, you better get up. Get it finished.
Yeah, I think now that I guess it's under Disney's umbrella now.
What isn't under Disney's umbrella now?
So I guess, maybe they were waiting for a transition, but James Cameron has, he's got it in his sights to do it. So, I kind of wonder if some of these directors that re-release movies for example, what was a movie they re-released? But they like Terminator. I think they re-released Terminator 2 to build up money for doing projects again. So
that's a strange technique.
Yeah, it is kind of, but it is the thing. Like like the Dark Crystal is coming back to the theater.
Really, I love that movie.
Yeah, it was an excellent movie. Jim Henson production. They're going to be releasing that. I think it's like a 3 or 4 day thing that they're going to release it back in the theaters. But Solon is giving me the pin look.
No, sorry, Don. What do you think? Or do you have one? Do you think, is there a film adaptation out there that is so good that's adapted from a book you think, oh, they nailed it with that? Or does that sort of thing even exist in your world?
No, it happens every once in a while, but on freak occasions.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to think right now of...
Or even a TV adaptation.
Oh, gosh.
Because I only know one.
My head goes blank, but typically the book and the movie are a yard apart.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that comes to mind was, Jack Reacher by Lee Child.
Mm.
Now that was, I've read, I don't know, I can't even count them, quite a few of the Lee Child books. Jack Reacher is his character, and it's a very powerful character. So Reacher is this big guy. He is big, he's a military guy, or he's, retired military, and he is very forceful. And while I love Tom Cruise,
he's not very big.
Cruise is not Reacher. He is not Reacher. And I was so upset about it. I mean, I watched it, and I even bought it.
I did too, full disclosure.
But it was like, this is not the way he's,
portrayed.
He's supposed to be. I mean, it's ridiculous. And something else that comes to mind, this is going back decades, the book The Adventurers. I can't even remember who wrote that. It was a very important author. But anyways, the character Dax in the book, South American, dark hair, tan, very dark skin. Or not dark skin, but I mean, like like a tan skin.
Mm-hmm.
Harold Robbins?
And, Harold Robbins, yes. And then
Google search.
In the movie, the guy was blonde. It's like, what in the hell were you people thinking? And, you know, they really changed things around. And, I mean, this has happened so many times. It's unreal. You know, producers, directors, actors, everybody has their input. And, you know, if they just follow the book,
Mm-hmm.
you know, the book has an audience. What's wrong with following the book?
That reminds me of Jurassic Park by Michael Crichton. The book, you know, I had seen the movie first, but went back, and read the book, and I was like so disappointed in the movie afterwards, because in the book, the older man that runs the park, he's more, you know, like, forget the children. Let's get off the island. You know, he was more evil, but then in the movie they made him like this, grandfatherly, nice person, and
like Santa Claus.
Yeah, exactly. And so it was kind of like that. You know, it was very disappointing. I guess going in reverse. I mean, it's such a mind jerk when you read a book and you like, wow, this is a great book. And I'm kind of worried because I've recently gone through Ready Player One. That's going to be released out pretty soon. And I've enjoyed that book immensely. And I'm worried that when I'm going to go see, although it might satisfy me on many pop culture-y kind of levels, it's not going to satisfy me because I've already got a preconceived notion of what the storyline should be. Now,
yeah,
you know, that's one. But you know, but when I read about The Martian, I found that the book was quite close to the actual movie, and so
I think it's because the writer had a ton of input.
It was
movie.
very enjoyable. I mean, I think you went to the movie and enjoyed it immensely.
I didn't know I was going to enjoy that.
Yeah, it was like, you know, with her, she's not a movie person, but
I'm a book person.
So I guess it just kind of goes back to what you're saying, is that, you know, it's you know, as a writer, you know, and reading, it's really hard to get through a movie where, I don't know, I guess Hollywood says, let's change the boy to a girl, and or this and that, and I think it's more Hollywood trying to dictate what, you know, they want to put their spin, their stank on it, you know, and I think that disappoints a lot of people. Like you said, your readers get frustrated when they see that translation.
Yeah, and another thing that people have to take into consideration also is, you know, if a book is, you know, 350, 400, 450 pages, that has to get tamped down to
2 hours,
120 pages.
Mm-hmm.
In a script, 1 page is 1 minute, and something has to give, something has to go. But the way I look at it is, while you still have to condense, you can still be true to the story.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to take a dog and turn it into a rhinoceros. You know, I mean, it's like, it's ridiculous the way they do some things.
So if you got...
another...
Go ahead.
I was going to say another book that I thought of that was translated into a movie was one of Dean Koontz's first books. What was it? Watchers?
Dean Koontz.
Yeah, Dean Koontz. I absolutely, positively loved that book. I mean, it was just phenomenal. It was a very strong read for me. And then they made it into a movie, and it was a cheap, sleazy thing, and it didn't even match the book. I was just like, I was insane with, I was so furious.
Well, if they were to take, let's say, The Last Dog or The Prophecy of Thal and try to adapt that into a 2-hour movie, would you be like, oh, I'm all over that, I need complete creative control over the script, or... would you just say
that
no?
Doesn't work. It doesn't work that way unless, the author is prominent or very wealthy and, has put it in the contract that they have creative control, they're, investing in the movie or something like that. The author has very little control.
Really?
Yeah, and it's really sad because to me it's like, if the author had more control, or if the producer, director, actors would welcome the feedback from the author, who knows the story more than they do, then I think it would be a win-win all around, you know? I don't know if I don't know if I've sent you my screenplay, The Far Corner. That's the one that's the psychological horror, supernatural.
I don't think you did. But hold it right there, Dawn. We're at the bottom of the hour. Let's take our break, and then I guess wrap up a few things with you. And and we appreciate you staying with us. So don't touch that dial, everybody. We'll be right back.
You are listening to Spaceboy Universe on the SBU network.
Explore the universe with Spaceboy and Sir Lana.
Okay.
All right, so we're back, and tonight our guest is dawn-greenfield-ireland, and great author, and I say that in the sense that she is my aunt, and what a great aunt to call in and chit chat about books.
I highly recommend you get one of her books, just based on what the little taste that I've gotten so far. I'm already sucked in. I've got now I've got to get the book. So.
Yeah, I know Sirlana loves, that was one
those
of the
free
things
samples, man. It's like getting a little hit of cocaine. Like, now I got to get the next bag,
A hit of the dart monkey.
I'm glad you're enjoying it. Everyone can check out my website, which is dawn-greenfield-ireland.com, and then you can see everything that I do, every single one of my books, and one of my screenplays. The far corner is my supernatural, psychological horror script that has been a finalist in, I think, 3 different competitions now.
Awesome.
I'm hoping that one of these days somebody will write the check and, option it or actually produce it.
So, what do you have something you could tell our audience that you kind of have? Okay, we have something coming down the pipe from you, something new. I know you just released something, but what's next for you?
Let's see what's coming out within the next. Let's see, Spicy Chocolate, which is the 3rd book in the Alcott family's adventures. That will be out within the next 2 or 3 weeks, and then another science fiction book called Forced Dreams that will be out probably somewhere between spring and summer. And I'm already working on Gifts from Thal. That's the book 2 in that the Thal series.
Mm-hmm.
That probably won't be finished until next year, depending on how much time I have. And then I have a really good outline for the 2nd book in the Last Dog series, and I can't give the name of that because that would give away something.
I got you. So has anybody?
And then we have The Glow.
Has anybody pitched you an idea for a book or a story, and you've kind of ran with it, or has? Yes, no?
No, not really. I've had people, tell me, I've got a really great story, you should write this. And so I tell them, if you want to give me $50,000, I will write your story for you. Otherwise, go take a class and write it yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've got too many things that I want to write, and I'm just afraid that one of these days somebody is going to hand me a check for $50,000 and expect me to write their story.
Is that a bad thing or a good thing?
It could be a toss-up, depending on their story. What if it's a crappy story?
Okay,
and I have to, force myself through it.
So I was going to pitch you this idea of a crew on a ship called Adventure, and it has this wonderful captain aboard that he kind of looks like me, and in the process, there's this bad guy called Earl Grey who somehow collapses all the multi-universes, and so the hijinks continues from there.
She's going to say, well, that's your story. You should write it.
And do they have tea?
Well, I don't know what Earl Grey drinks, but...
it's URL Earl Grey.
And Grey
Earl
is
Grey is a tea.
And Grey is an alien, so... But, I really appreciate you coming on, and I love you to death. I do, and I appreciate the pictures you sent me. And, when you do have something else coming out, let us know. And, we'll toot your praises and make sure that our space cadets know that you have something.
Come down to Houston sometime.
Yeah.
To visit.
Or come back, Not for the humidity, but for your wonderful nephew.
Come for the heat, stay for humidity.
I really do need to get down there and visit.
Well,
but it won't be anytime soon because I'm going to be moving soon.
Gotcha. Just off the beat question: are you close to your sons? I mean, live close?
One of them was right down the street from me, but he moved across the river, so he's like 45 minutes away now.
Is that the
And
younger
the other
or
one
the younger or the older
Yeah,
one?
that's the younger one.
Mm-hmm.
And then the older one is outside of Philadelphia, where
Okay.
I'll be moving.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, when you do hear from them, tell them that I'm thinking about them, and the older one, I miss him.
I will.
And wish he would communicate more with me, but I do see him periodically on Facebook. And, just to let him know that I'm out there if he ever wants to reach out. Both of them.
I will. And it was really good connecting with you. And, oh, gosh, we have to connect more.
Indeed. Well, anyway...
everyone out there, I'm just going to say, everyone out there, I'm glad you listened in. It's really nice to know you. And you can stop by my website and send me a message.
Well, we have a lot of great people
Stacy
that
was
listen.
listening, too.
Yeah. Even Stacy's listening. So, you've got both of us over here listening. So,
Cool.
So once again, we love you, Aunt Dawn, and we appreciate you coming on. And like I said, when something new comes down the pipe, let us know, and
so we can promote it.
Yeah, we'll promote it for you, and let our universe know about it.
Thanks. I really appreciate it.
Oh, no problem.
All right, honey bunny.
All right. Good night, Aunt Dawn.
Good night.
Bye,
You guys
thank
take care.
You too. Sleep
Bye.
tight. Bye-bye. And I'm guessing that Skype just hung up, right?
Yeah, Skype's on.
I want to just
I
wrap
know.
my hands around that program. Man,
we need an alternative.
It has been a good night tonight. We juggled as best as we could. We're going to look into our call-in studio to see what's going on, why we had the flip-flop, flippity-plop-plop-plop.
It worked for me.
Yes,
I called it.
I know. I heard you, and I heard you talking on your cell phone to it.
I know why it quit working. Maybe it's because he's FBI and it had some blocking.
That's a possibility. I didn't think about that. That could have been the issue.
So I tried to call him on Skype, and we got the scariest message.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy!
Yeah, but what a conversation with him, John-Desouza.
I'm hoping he'll come back.
I do too.
There's I had 3 more pages of just bullet points. So
yeah, I was very excited, and
I know he wanted to take calls, but
yeah. But the next time when he's on, we can take some calls.
we'll give him the whole night if he would want it.
Yeah. So just let's look into our schedule in the way future, and see where we can put him in and bring him back.
All right, and we'll continue to get guests and take your suggestions too. Thank you for the people who have suggested guests. We're writing those down and looking into them.
Mm-hmm. Let's see, what else do I have here?
Keep the ideas coming. Topics, people, we love it.
Let's see what else.
Just a reminder, we cover history, French science, gaming, music, pop culture, technology. If you know a writer, if you know a screenplay writer, if you know anybody professional, a producer, an actor, somebody that's working on a video game. Of course, pop culture is anything. Do you know a really cool historian that's writing a cool book we can talk to?
I'm going to have to dig into my historic archives of history and come up with a history topic, because I do like history. We haven't done that in a while. I'm trying to think of the last thing we did on history.
It was probably Nixon.
I think it was the Nixon program, and that was a pretty lively show.
Stay away from controversial stuff.
So, send your things into contact at spaceboyuniverse.com, and, we'll definitely see what we can do to book that. So, on to other topics, since we still have a few more minutes, Solana.
Our next guest is not going to be until what? Not next weekend, but the week after?
February 10th, yes, I believe.
We will have a guest on February 10th,
mm-hmm.
and he is he a writer too?
He's a writer too, and it's on.
I know. And don't say it. Don't say it. Don't say it.
I was going to a type of. I was going to say paranormal.
Yeah. Michael Huntington.
Yes. Okay. There we
go. Strange Travels with Michael Huntington.
Yes, very nice guy.
But that's the 10th of February.
10th, and something squirrely might come along for this next weekend. We're still, it's always a work in progress. The universe is always developing.
The third might be a grab bag. We don't know.
But we're working on things. That's the important part. We're working on it. So.
Yeah, David Adair. We should probably check in with him.
Mm-hmm. David Adair, yeah. I think it is time to check in, to do a check-in.
I hope he's okay.
Yeah, we'll have to look into him. For some reason, I don't know why, there's a part of me, when I think of David Adair, I think of K-28. I don't know.
Because he keeps ringing him up. Yeah, he just brought him up.
Maybe that's probably why I associate the two. I mean, it's I guess our audience would probably appreciate it when we associate certain people with our audience.
Yeah.
So, any topics that we kind of left to the wayside, Sir Lana?
Topics?
Yeah, I mean, we kind of went through the first 30 minutes of our first show, or at the beginning of our show, where we went from topic to topic. It was quite hypnotic. I guess you were distracted at the time.
Well, I mean, I've closed all those tabs.
Well, you shouldn't close all those tabs when,
Well, I have to do that because, it takes up. So, what's this thing about Pepper Potts may have powers in the Avengers Infinity War? So she's going to be in it? I didn't know that.
I think everybody's going to be in this movie.
Well, somebody's going to die, too.
Well, I thought she, in the Iron Man movie, I think it was Iron Man 3, she got infected with some kind of thing from the Mandarin. And so she might have some residual powers left from being infected by him. So I guess we'll have to wait and see how that all kind of goes down.
I didn't even know she was going to be in it. But like you said, who isn't going to be in it?
Mm-hmm.
So, Redbox is suing Disney for copyright misuse.
What?
That box that's outside CVS at McDonald's and in the foyer of Walmart, where you can still rent a DVD like a dork. They're suing Disney over dispute involving their service, the rental service. You could find these kiosks literally everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So
Redbox.
Meanwhile, Disney's preparing their own streaming service, and they expect to be a legitimate competitor for Netflix, which could be true since they own most everything. So their video product is inside a Redbox, and the recent accusations are the business tactics of this lawsuit. Redbox is an affordable way to get a movie to rent. It's probably it's kind of like an ATM of DVDs, So, but Disney's never been a fan of Redbox. So Redbox has had enough of Disney's practices. So they're filing suit against Disney. They're arguing that Disney's home video branch, Buena Vista, I can't read this and turn off the ad blocker. I get so sick of that. But they're suing it. Hold on. They're suing Disney. They're accusing them of falsely claiming they are not allowed to resell digital copies of movies, which is the basis of Disney's original lawsuit against Redbox in December. So, the service successfully agreed to deals with other distributors like Universal for the content that's in their kiosks of the movies. So, instead of working with Redbox, Disney resisted. Now, Redbox is demanding to wait 28 days before they start distributing new releases, and they found a way around it by purchasing combo packs of multiple Disney releases and selling them separately. Well, I didn't think they were selling them. I thought they were just renting them. When do they start selling? Is that a thing at Redbox?
I can imagine that, if you don't return it, or you could probably buy it from the kiosk itself. That's what they're talking about.
Well, Disney's hyping up their own streaming service, which is a lot of ABC shows too, and the Fox acquisition, and so Redbox is getting its own on-demand product off the ground itself. So I don't know. I didn't even think about that as a conflict.
I know that there was an issue at one time where there was this party that Angel something where they would take movies that are out there and remove the dirty words or inappropriate scenes from movies for people who, Christians, who wanted to watch a movie but didn't want to be bombarded by all the sex, the violence, and the swear words. And so I think it was
what's left of the movie.
Disney came after them, and it was kind of the same situation where they were taking the movie and then they would make another copy of it, but without being bleached, I guess, if you wanted to call it.
That's weird.
Well, I mean, there are people that want to watch movies out there, but they can do without all the cuss words. Maybe it's just like, for example, a PG or a PG-13 movie that has certain language that is inappropriate.
I used to be offended by things. No, really, seriously. And then I moved to Texas, and now I'm not offended anymore.
Okay.
Something about Texas just washed right out of me.
Are you sure it wasn't when you married me?
No, this is before I met you. This thing's just radical change, moving from my hometown to Texas.
I will admit that my guard has come down a little bit more, but
plus living in Houston and driving in Houston traffic,
that does it to me. It brings
if you've
out my
never
bad
sworn,
side.
you will swear.
But I think for the most part, you know me well. I'm not a person who is very profane.
No, you're not. I'm the one that swears. Like I say, I'm the bad person in this relationship. You are a better person. You're a better human being. You just are. That's probably why you're the face of Space Boy, because you are a good person, and I'm just like this little bitter ball of evil over here, and I don't make any apologies for it, and I don't feel a need to change. So there you go.
I don't know. I want to be positive, and I just choose. I try, and I hate when you say it like, "Well, you just want to be the better person," and
well, you already are, so you don't have to try.
And
it's the truth.
One day I'll teach you what Dark Plague has taught me, how you could bring people back to life and cheat death.
That was actually in John's book.
Oh, it was?
There's going to be hybrids, like from the ancient times. All these crazy things we'd see on these hieroglyphs, like, and in drawings of from medieval times and back, like of griffins and satyrs. He's like, all that's coming back because they were real at one time, and these ancient civilizations were having these beings come down and mess with DNA on levels we can't even achieve now. Mm-hmm. And they were going to bring back dead people and reanimate them. And they're going to be so good, they're going to try to reintegrate them into life. And there'll be all these hybrids, and the people, because how humans are like, well, hybrids should have rights too. And they're going to have this hidden agenda that's not going to be to our benefit. And that, he's like, imagine a giant snake anaconda, but with a male human's head that is sentient, can talk to you like a human person, but still eats food like a snake. Like, is it going to have rights too? But he's saying all these things are going to be coming, and he says people have encounter with EDs will start seeing dead relatives after they've had their encounter. And the dead relatives will start talking to them, and they'll say, well, is this because I saw that UFO? And the dead relative will be like, what UFO? That's in the back of his book toward the end. So
he is, I know this is going to sound strange, but I like the way he looks. He's very iconic looking.
I like the way he sounds.
And he does have a good
soft
voice.
And laid back. Yeah. You don't think of him as an agent.
Mm-hmm. But he definitely has what's funny is I've looked at his pictures. He's either clean shaven or he has the Mirror Universe goatee going on, and but yeah, either way, he's just an interesting person to look at. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. All right.
Whereas I'm not. Anyway,
I did not say that.
Do you need to do wrap up or?
Well, we've got a few more minutes here. Is there...
What's with all this rebooting crap of TV shows from the 80s that weren't that great in the first place?
There's just a resurgence of people bringing
we talked about this before. I forget who we mentioned, but now there's 2 more coming. And this is Magnum P.I. and Cagney and Lacey reboots. Mm-hmm. Ordered at CBS. At least it's not Netflix doing it, but Just
Well,
no.
okay, since you said CBS, it makes sense. You know how it makes sense?
CBS Go or
CBS All Access.
All Access,
So they're
whatever
trying
it's
to rebuild their content trying to provide more content for their service.
by rehashing old content.
Well, that seems to be the trend. So, if they can bring more content by rehashing their current catalog that they have, I mean, both those shows are owned by CBS. So, it is what it is, babe. This is the media that we have before us, So
I don't get it. Maybe
it's like
it's
this.
not for me.
It's like
I get
this.
it.
It's more risky to try to create something new and unique versus something that's already been tried at, to where you can bring in an audience that is familiar with the product, like Magnum PI or Cagney and Lacey.
Well, Cagney and Lacey was so popular in like England and Ireland, and I know it's because those last names are very Irish, but Graham Norton had them on. Both the actresses that play them, and it was like so whatever anniversary of it coming out on DVD, and they were just like all gushy over them, and I'm like, and everybody else here is like, who?
Well, anyway, yeah. So it is what it is with Hollywood. Hollywood is changing in a lot of ways, and yeah.
I wonder if Hollywood's figured out how much we don't need them to be entertained, because we have YouTube and home videos, and people get hit in the crotch and falling off things, and cat videos and original content.
We have Space Boy Universe. I mean, that's quite entertaining.
There's plenty of things out there for free that you don't got to pay a cent for, unless it's just your internet. But you don't even need movies and TV anymore.
No, I mean, we do the YouTube thing, and it seems to do us. I mean, every time I come home, it's like the first thing. What would we do?
I'm already on there.
Well, you're already on there, or dinner gets done, and then we jump onto YouTube. Except with the exception of this past week, I've actually tried to write some music, get a song done, or two to head to finally getting an album together. But I guess we'll see how that goes. So let's see. I can't think of anything else, Lana. I guess I'm going to just play us out. So join us next week, my friends, and just check the social media as far as what the next plans for the next show is. And a big thank you once again to Solaris Blue Raven, because, man, she is awesome. And on that magical note, good night, Space Cadets.
Spaceboy Universe is hosted by Spaceboy and Sir Lana. Executive producer is Sir Lana. Social media producer is Dennis Koch. Associate producer is Lee Ann Cordes. Music production is Spaceboy of SpaceboyMusic.com. Special thanks goes out to Lee Ann K, K28, Mark S, and Bob N. This has been a Spaceboy Universe production. Support the universe by exploring Spaceboy Universe with Spaceboy and Sir Lana. Sweet dreams, Space Cadets.